Hi, and welcome to another video of the Target Individual program, the Target Individual Experience. Another week, and again, still targeted, nothing has changed. And this time, though, uh, we're going to shed more light on what is happening. Particularly, we're going to talk about the directed energy weapons that the US government have been developing and have created within the past 50 years. And the purpose of these directed energy weapons is to control, maim, kill uh, anyone without leaving a trace as to any external cause of death or illness that may have contributed to the individual or individuals' loss of life, loss of body functions, uh, the development of illnesses, the psychological damage, both psychological and physical brain damage, as well as neurological. So on Sunday, CBS did a reporting on the U.S. diplomats in Cuba and China who were victims of what they call suspected health attack. All right, in which at first they said it was a sonic weapon. Then the FBI, the CIA, Department of Defense came out and said that no such weapons exist. Okay, and I would just ask you guys to Google ray gun. Okay, this was a report, and I think it was by CBS also, that was done in the early 2000s of a military weapon which used ultrasonic uh, microwave frequency in order to disable subjects, and the reporter was told to stand in front of this ray gun. And when they turned it on, he couldn't. He could only stand a few seconds of the effect of that ray gun. Now, that is a directed energy weapon. Okay, so I'm not sure if you might be able to find it online, and I didn't check before I'm stating this, but I remember seeing it. So you guys can Google it, and hopefully you guys can find it. Maybe during this video I will Google it, and we can see if the video is still up. Because over the past couple of years they've been going dark. And when I say going dark, they've been scrubbing the internet of any information of the type of directed energy weapons that they were working on, they have working on, they continue to work on, and they have developed or are developing. Okay, and this is where we as TIs come in, because we are victims of these non-human, non-consensual human experimentation done by the U.S. government, done by local, state, the FBI, law enforcement. So let's say they are developing microwave weapons for crowd control. Okay, so who do you think they're going to test this on? Okay, they test it on the prisoners, but you can't have real world results if you don't test it out on people in society. Okay, and so in 2004 there was a report from protesters, actually a news report, right? And they talk about protesters being hit with a directed energy weapon, and they felt very agitated. They felt as if their skin was burning. They was going to fall. Their skin was going to fall off, and they basically had to disperse because they could not stand being where they were at. Okay, but again, this didn't get any attention, any national attention. Okay, and as soon as these stories comes out, they bury them. Okay, so you don't hear from them again. And you know, I have been talking about this from since 2006, after a couple of years of going through this, being hit with what is called acoustic vibrational weapons, which use uh, microwave frequency, which cause the body to vibrate. And because of that, and because of many years of being hit with this weapon, I had a spinal injury because of it. Okay, and then also that being microchipped for the purpose of the study of what is called remote neuromonitoring, in which my thoughts were being read, and uh, when I go outside, there would be people outside repeating certain things that I would say in my mind. So let me give you an example. Okay, so early on, this is about 2003, 2004, if my memory is correct, and it may not be because again, you suffer permanent memory loss, particularly short-term memory loss, which I could barely retain any information that I've read. Let's say if I'm reading a passage in a book or a paragraph in a book, um, you know, by the time I'm done, and let's say 2 hours later, I can't recall whatever was said in the book, whatever I read in the book. Okay, and so the things that I do repeatedly, I will retain some of that information, but I would say it's like a 30% chance that I'll retain it and a 70% chance that I won't. And so this is again permanent injuries that is being done. And what they try to do when you try to get evidence of the damages that they've caused you, they will try to deny you in every way. And if you do get evidence, okay, to prove you've been damaged by this, whether psychologically or physical, neurological, uh, they will, try and prevent you from getting any kind of medication. And if you do get medication, what they will do is that they will contact the pharmacy. So if you have refills to get, they will contact the pharmacy, and the pharmacy will no longer call you about getting refills. Because sometimes I forget to go get refills, and that's why, because I get my medication, my prescription filled at Walgreens, and I had set it up online so that I would get a reminder every time my prescription is due to refill. And within the past 2 months, I have not gotten any notification. Okay. On top of that, I had an appointment to see my neurologist about 3 months ago, and the doctor's office never called me. And usually they're pretty good at calling me about my appointments, but they haven't called me. And I noticed that when they stop calling me is also when I stop receiving um, notification about my prescription refill from the pharmacy. So again, they will do whatever they can to hide the psychological, physical, neurological damage they've caused you by from these weapons. Okay, because again, for whatever reason, well, I know the reason, but again, they don't want you to gather any evidence of what it is that they're doing. Hence why I do this video, so I can show the psychological tactics that is being used on me. Not just the psychological tactics, but the noise campaign, how they controlling people through these technologies. Okay, and again, a lot of people don't understand and realize what's being done. And I know it's scary. The thought of, you know, someone controlling your mind, if it's, for some people, if you tell them God is controlling their mind, they'll believe that and accept that. But if you tell them the US government has weapons, okay, microwave weapons that operates on the same frequency as the human brain, and that can uh, give you command to do things without you even realizing it, because you're thinking that this is your own thought pattern, your own decision making, when it's not. It's pretty downright scary. Okay, and so a lot of people, when you try to give them the information, they, you know, they don't want to hear it. The cognitive dissonance kicked in, or the defensive conditioning kick in order to dismiss what it is that you're saying or you're telling them, because they've been conditioned to turn away. And it's like the truth makes them sick. They can't deal with it. They block it out. So it becomes a very difficult task of trying to make people aware of what's going on. Okay, so uh, not also are they have they been developing again these direct energy weapons, but also psychological tactics and psychological program for control. Okay, and again, how do they get away with this? Because the victims of these programs, whenever we come forward and speak out, we are labeled, right? And this is the exact purpose of what they they're doing. This is to hide what it is that they're doing to us. Okay, so on psychologicalharassment.com, we talk about psychological manipulation, not we, but the site. Psychological manipulation and induced psychological illness. Okay, and so you find a ton of information, all the tactics, most of the tactics, I wouldn't say all, but most of the tactics that they use against us victims who are speaking out. And, it's what they do to try to discredit us from speaking out against, what's being done. Excuse me, I just had to check my Facebook. Uh, yeah. So, like I said, this Sunday, um, which was the 17th, okay, CBS 60 Minutes did a story on the brain trauma suffered by U.S. diplomat abroad could be work of hostile foreign government. Okay, but let me just say this: being a targeted individual for so many years, studying uh, what it is that they've done to me, they've done to others like me. Observing myself, my thought pattern, my children, the way how they behave, the way how they act, they themselves suffer short-term memory loss, and they get headaches, dizziness. The same thing, and you know it's I'm talking about it, but it makes you very angry. And the fact that you cannot protect your children or your family from what's being done to you, because again, when you try to tell people what's being done, you're automatically labeled, as having a mental illness, and no one would believe you. Same as what they're trying to do to these diplomats, right? Their own government that's doing this, okay? Right? Their own government that's trying to deny that these weapons, that this technology exists. So again, the same thing they're doing to these diplomats, they've been doing this to us targets for decades. Okay, and so this was a very good uh, article to read for those who are curious and want to know. Please read this. You can find this at the cbsnews.com. 60 minutes, and you watch the video. It's almost a 14-minute long video. I don't want to play it because of copyright reason, and even though I could use this as using the what is called the Fair Usage Act. Okay, I'm not too familiar with it, so I don't know even if I state that law, or what I'm saying, that I'm not sure if my video will get flagged for copyright infringement, because and that's what they'll do, because again, they try to prevent me from exposing what it is that they're doing. So I just don't want to use that, but I'm just going to, you know this is the site, it's the link, and so you guys can go and read it yourself. Now, this is Andrew Mitchell from NBC News, and this is about a 5-minute segment of an interview with the mother of one of the diplomats, okay, who herself went to, I believe, China, because her daughter had called her and said to her, "Hey, something is going on. I'm not feeling well." And when she went there herself, she started to experience the same symptoms as her daughter, and they both suffer permanent, okay, psychological and neurological health problems. Okay, so I think Let me just play some of this stuff. And this is being used under the Fair Usage Act. Okay. Now you hear a lot of Chi talk about this, about you know their themselves hearing high pitched sound. For me, um, I used to hear birds chirping. Okay, and it was so they seemed like they were so close. And when I would look outside the window, there would be no birds there. Okay, and I started to realize, okay, something is not right here. Something is not going on. Something is going on. Right, and then on top of that, used to get the ringing of the ears, and it's a whole host of other stuff. But I want to skip past some of this stuff, and I want to go. Let's see here. Okay, let's go. Okay, now you guys have seen the result of my MRI CAT scan, and for those of you who haven't seen it, uh, I'm gonna go get it and show it to you guys again. Okay, so uh, some of these symptoms and damage that was done to these diplomats had to do with the white matter in the brain. Okay, and here's my. Let's look at substrate. Okay, and it talked about being substantial damage within the white matter of the brain, from what I remember when I was first told that. Then and this was after many years of being microwave and being remote neural monitored, the effect that it has caused and damaged you know my brain. And my spinal injury had to do with the vibration acoustical weapon being used, and it talked about this the finding of reveals evidence of a severe left side L4 L5 lumbar uh, radiculopathy, something like that. But here it is. Okay, see the bottom here. Okay, and so you know I can remember um, not being completely immobilized, not being able to get up, to stand, to walk, literally having to pull myself uh, to the bathroom, or else I was going to pee myself, okay? Because I couldn't move, I couldn't walk. It was like being paralyzed, but being paralyzed and being in tremendous pain, okay? Tremendous pain. And literally I had to stay in bed for a week, okay, to be able to have some uh, function to where I can get up and make it to the restroom, without crawling, using my hands to pull myself to the bathroom, and then going to get an MRI, and being told you know, uh, the damage that was caused. And I remember the technician, asked me, he said to me, he said, my, he said, man, you must have been in a really bad car accident. And I told him, no, I had not been in a car accident. And he said to me, your injury is consistent with someone who has been in a severe car accident. Okay. And so, I was literally in shock and I was angry. Okay. And again, uh, when I try to tell people about this stuff, or, you know, get delusional, especially when I started experiencing some of the adverse psychological effect of what was being done to me, being told that I was paranoid, and I said I was being followed. And at the time, I didn't know the term gang stalking, but I was being gang stalked. Okay, I was being harassed by the police, by the fire department, by ambulances, uh, by people repeating things that I've said to myself or thought to myself internally in my mind. And I remember going out with a friend of mine. We went out to dinner. This was after I'd finished work. And when I was at work, I was singing a song, in my mind, just like how, you would sing a song in your mind, and dance to it. And we came out of the restaurant, and a police car was on the opposite side of the road because it was a two-way street. And when we came out of the restaurant, it was like they were waiting for me because as soon as we came out of the restaurant, they made a U-turn, and the officer on the passenger side rolled down his windows and basically starts singing the same song. And these were two white cops, because in the beginning of my targeting, well, the majority of my targeting when involving the police comes from white male police officers. Okay, and he started singing the song, and I was stunned. I stood there, and then my friend, who we had just had dinner, she looked at me, and her eyes just swelled up with tears. And I kind of like, because you're so stunned, so I kind of like, just kind of ignored her for a minute, and I was like, come on, let's go. And I walked her to the train station so she can go home. Then I walked back to the train station where I needed to go to get home. And I think after that, I think I never called her again, and that was it. You know, because I didn't know what was going on. Okay, but yeah, this is the U.S. government, and I think local and state police department in big cities have these type of technology because they have all been militarized and they are using this technology. Okay, on individuals. So imagine how many people have been arrested, probably implanted without their knowledge. Just as how they take your DNA evidence when they arrest you now. They no longer need a court permission to do that. As a matter of fact, they go around just picking up garbage like cigarette butts and soda cans, just so they can collect DNA, right? So then they can add it to the database, just to see if they get a hit on a DNA match for a crime that has been committed or what have you. But this is what they're doing. Okay, so again, but these are the the damage that I have been able to get evidence from on of the damage that has been caused by me by these weapons and this technology and these technology. Okay, they know, they just believe that they think that the public is stupid, and they're probably right because they have conditioned the public to become dumber and dumber each generation. So it is okay for them to come out and say, well, these technologies don't exist, when they themselves have exposed themselves in terms of the creation and development of these technologies. Because, like I said, back in the early 2000s, and I believe again it was 60 Minutes who did the reporting of the ray gun. Okay, so don't believe for a minute when they say that these technologies don't exist and they don't know. They know, and it is my belief, because I'm a victim of this, that they did this to their own people, okay, as a means to cause an international incident, as a way of using this technology on foreign entities, foreign government entities here in the United States. And this is being done as a, well, you did this to our people, so now we're going to do it to your people, okay, to try to justify using this against, foreign diplomats in this country. This is what, they're trying to do. And this is just my uh, personal opinion. I could be right, I could be wrong. Okay, but I think I'm right, because when they start denying it, when they say that no such weapon exists, when they try to, say that these diplomats are crazy and it's psychological, then instead of standing by these diplomats, but they try to do to these diplomats what they've done to us target individuals for decades now. Okay. Okay, let's go. And that's exactly what it is. It is a weapon system. All right. And so, and again, that's the weapon system part of it. But again, there's two parts. There's the direct to energy part, the weapons, and also let's talk about silent sound spectrum. Okay. Silent sound spectrum is basically used to control the human mind. Okay. That's what it's being used for, to control the human mind. All right. Now, let's also talk about the psychological, because we all know government wage psychological warfare on foreign entities, but they also wage it on its own society, its own people. Okay, and for we as target individuals, we get a concentrated dose of, psyops, right? Using those in our community, the villainization, the spreading of negative rumor, negative campaign starts on the target, because again, it is a means so that they can be surveilled, they can be labeled, right? They can be set up, okay, and ultimately destroyed, whether it be uh, psychologically, economically. Um, what else I'm looking for here? Uh, but you get what I'm saying. Or the targets will eventually commit suicide, commit an act of violence or crime, which they can be arrested and put into the penal system, or they can be psychologically uh, um, uh, uh, they can be put into a mental institution. In that way, they get rid of them, right? So that again, out of sight, out of mind, they can expose what's going on, and that way they're totally discredited, right? So this is what they're doing. Okay. Okay. So I want to get into the videos again, and as I show you guys again the campaign, the psychological campaign waged against me, involving the NYPD and the noise campaign by the New York City Fire Department. Okay, and so this video here, this was Saturday. Okay, This was Saturday, and let's see here. Okay, so this is Saturday. So I got to my daughter has dance class on Saturdays. All right. So last week you guys saw the video that I did, and again, they will do retaliation. Every time I do a video, they will retaliate because again they're trying to shut me up, and so within a day or 2 days they will retaliate. So walking to my daughter's school, got to in front of the school, and there are two police vehicles parked up in front of her school. Okay, both police vehicles were empty. Now I started to record, and then I noticed that the recording stopped. Okay, because I hit the record button. I saw the numbers going, telling me that's being recorded. So I started talking and narrating as to the type of retaliation that they do, and then I looked at the camera again and saw that it wasn't recording. So I hit the record button again, started recording, right? But before I hit the record button, when I thought the phone was recording and I was narrating, I started hearing sirens, okay, from the fire truck. So at this point, again, I had looked at the the phone to make sure that the video was recording. I saw that it wasn't recording; it had stopped. So I hit the record button again, kept looking, and I started recording to make sure. I started narrating and also looking at the camera to make sure that it was recording. Okay. Okay. Now, the funny thing is that you can't see it, but there's the fire truck about a block away. Okay. Then there was a police car that was in front of the fire truck, and it made uh, a left, right? So it made a left. Okay. The fire truck came down straight. That same police car, and it must have gone really fast because then it came back again, and you guys will see the police car parked up here. There were two of them parked up in front of my daughter's school, dance school. Okay, see the same police car here. You see it making the turn, right? It's making the left turn. This was the exact same police car that was behind the fire, that was in front of the fire truck. Okay, then it made the left onto the street as the fire truck was coming straight, came back. So what's going to happen here? There's a car that's double parked. You see the police officer. He opens his car door. Okay, and you'll see the other one comes out also. Okay, they're telling this guy to move. Okay, he moves. I don't know why they tell him to move, because there was ample space, right, so that they can pass. And as evidence, you guys are going to see. But again, this is all street theater. This car was parked up there for a reason. This is all street theater. Okay, watch this. Okay, notice how they're not going to stop to get past these two police vehicles, and these are large vehicles, right? Because these are SUVs, right? Yet all of a sudden they can pass just fine. Look, right? Okay, so you think, hey, okay, the fire truck can't pass. It's a big ass truck, right? Look. Not a problem. Okay? Not a problem. So why did they make this guy move when they could have just passed by? Okay? And again, I want you guys to watch this. Okay? Okay, so now you see the guy here? He's pulling like what it looks like a luggage or suitcase. Again, this is what they do. They try to run the, well, you should leave, because they try to chase you out of your neighborhood, out of your state, because again, once you start exposing what it is they're doing, they have to get rid of you. So they'll try numerous ways, right? They'll try to have you arrested. They're getting into trying to manipulate you into going to court, right? Um, they'll do things to try to get you to commit a crime. I was telling this to another TI. I said, a couple of years ago, um, I went home and I used to collect watches, and they stole a bunch of my watches. Okay, I mean, a couple $1,000s worth of watches, and this happened on a Saturday night. Okay, Monday, on my way to work, there was a guy standing. He was leaning against a building across the street from the train station. And as I walked by him, he rolled up his sleeve, showed me his watch, and said to me, "Hey man, do you want to buy some watches?" Okay. Now, had I not know what these people were doing, okay, I probably would have fly off the handle, attacked this guy, and then get arrested. Because be sure enough, there was a police officer right around the corner. Okay. So they stage these things up, you know what I'm saying? Try to get you angry and stuff like that. And this is what they do to a lot of people. Okay. But people don't want to listen. Try to tell them, they don't want to listen. They think that they'll say, well, why do police officer do stuff like that? Again, it's like, what world are you living in? There are police officers that have done all kind of criminal activities against individuals, particularly being a black person. We know they've planted drugs on innocent people. They planted a weapon on innocent people. They've set people up, particularly black people. So come on. So when you tell black people that, they always say, well, why would the cops do this? Really? I mean, it just goes to show you what mindset black people have in this country, right? They have a short memory, and it could be because of the right to energy weapons. Okay. All right. Now watch. Now there was another car here that was double parked. They didn't ask this individual to move. They just drove right past him. Okay. So why did they ask this individual in the white car to move? But again, this is all street theater. See, they use color as a um, to convey an emotion, a feeling, right? And so this is what they do. Okay. Okay. So let's go to the next video. Okay. And so I took my kids to the playground, which is there's like this little school right next to their school, and there's a playground. They call it the big playground. And we're there. I think I had like about 15 minutes before her class start. And then, after the fire truck left, about a few minutes later, they started with the noise campaign again. Okay. And so what you hear is me recording, and what you see in here is me recording and narrating. Okay. And again, whenever they are accessing my phone, whenever I record the noise campaign, and I've done this before, I've had plenty of videos on this, that the minute I begin talking and explaining about the noise campaign and how they've been using the noise campaign for the past few minutes, they'll suddenly stop. Okay. And so, there's numerous things that was happening that day. They kept shutting off the phone from recording. And then at one particular point, there was a Hispanic woman going to my daughter's school, dance school, and she looked at me and she stuck her tongue out at me. Okay, and so at that point, I was like, okay, let me start recording, because I don't know what's going to come next, but I know something's going to come. Okay, so again, after the Hispanic woman stick her tongue out at me and went into my daughter's dance school, I told the kids, "Come on, let's go." And at that point, as I'm walking out the yard, because the dance school is right there. See this fence right here? See this guy standing over here? There's a passageway that leads to her dance school. You guys will see. So the minute I told the kids, "Okay, let's go," what have you, a Hispanic police officer was walking back, and you'll see her. You won't be able to make out, but you can see her getting into the police vehicle, right? And then she's going to drive off. Okay. Let's see if I got to the point where she drive off. That's me yelling at my daughter because I'm telling her let's go, and I walking out the yard, and I turn around and she's not with me, so I'm yelling at her like, "What are you doing up there? Come on, we gotta go." Okay, so you see, this is my daughter dance school, Cynthia King Dance Studio. That's my son Ethan here, and you see this woman how she puts her hands over her head like that. Look, and then as she walked past, wait, I think I remember this part because that's the reason why I turned the phone towards her. Now look, see how she's giving me the middle finger? Okay. Now she's supposed to be fixing her glasses, right? So if you fix your glasses, why are you fixing your glasses with your middle finger sticked up in the air? Okay. And so again, you know, that's why again when that Hispanic woman stuck out her tongue at me, I told the kids, let's go, and I started recording because I knew that her doing that is gonna follow along with other things that was gonna happen. So that's why uh, I'm recording. Okay. And then I was saying to myself, I said, I bet you as I walk to the dance studio, she's going to be coming out. All right. And that's exactly what happened. Okay. So as I got there, and, at this point, the video stopped. Right. At this point, the video stopped. And then as I reached the door, she comes walking out. And I said to her, I said, hold, I said, I'll get the door for you. But as I was saying that, I looked at my phone and I made sure to hit the record button again. And this was very brief, but she tried to play it off. So when she saw that I had the phone in my hand, she kind of like looked away, looked to the side, acting as if she's talking to her child. And like, what's the matter? What's the matter? It was just her again trying to mask the targeting, right? So I was only able to get this side shot of her, you know, and but yeah, okay. And she's like, "Talk to me. What happened? You know what happened. Don't try to play it off, okay? Okay. I mean, again, this is the shit that they do, right? So, but you think this is, but we all know this is not over, right? It's not it. So anyway, got out after my daughter dance class, walking back to the car. I all of a sudden my phone stopped recording. I kept saying that the phone is unable to record. The phone's unable to record, and so I had to restart my phone. And I missed a couple of uh, video of people targeting me on my way to this point. So now, you know, I am able to record now because I was walking very slow as my phone uh, restarted. Okay, so at this point, my phone restarted and I started recording. Now you see this guy over here in his purple jacket. He's looking across the street, minding his own business. But the minute that I get close to him, he's going to turn around and look at me and my kids. And you'll see me turn the phone. And as I turn the phone, he looks straight in a direction of traffic, but he literally almost break his neck, turn around to look at me and my children. All right. Now you see these two individuals here. Okay. Again, these are all perps, station, stage, uh, and you know, just showing you guys the pattern. So whenever there's a perp or perps standing around, okay, they will always wait till I get close to them, and then they'll either turn around and walk off, or they'll take their phone out their pocket, look at it, put it back in. In this case, you'll see her having her phone in her hand, but she's going to look at me and my kids, and then she's going to put her phone back into her pocket. Okay, so you see at this point she takes her phone out. Okay, and she's looking at it. Now, as I approach, he's gonna start to move. Now he can stay where he was at. He wasn't blocking me. All right, because I was in. My kids were right beside me. Okay, so we had enough space, and you'll see she's this. You hear me describe her. Okay, watch. Now see, she looks at it again, and she's looking at my kids. Okay, see where her eyes is pointed. Okay, now he doesn't want to be caught on camera. I guess she doesn't care. And now she's going to put her phone back in her pocket. All right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's skip past this. Okay, so let's get to go across the street. Okay, that was too far. All right. Okay, so here's another perp. So as I approach him, see he turns around. Okay, he's going to do the turning off the hand. I talked about the fixation drill with the palm of the hand, and you see he turns around, and again, I'm going to pan the camera to where my head turns. Okay, and which was down to stare at the palm of his hand. Okay, so now you see me, the camera, and this is what they do. This is the technology at work. In terms of directing my mind and where to look. Okay, this is the fixation drill. Oh, wait, I think yeah, there we go. All right, so again, okay, so remember, they always do things in phases, right? So on the right, you'll see a guy standing here. He's looking at his phone, and he's talking to somebody sitting in the car. Okay, so there he is. He's talking to this individual sitting in his car. Now you'll notice that the car windows is up. All right, so remember this person has been standing there before they get into my field of vision, right? Before I can see them, and they're standing there, look at their phone, talking to an individual in the car, but the car windows is up. Right now, again, you're going to see as I get close to the individuals, you'll see them you'll see the person in the car all of a sudden roll down the window. Okay. Now, you've been talking to this person outside the car. You couldn't roll down the window all this time, but you wait until I get close so that I can see you roll down the window. So this is the stuff that they do. And again, when I talk about people standing on the sidewalk, and when I approach them, I get close to them, they'll turn around and walk off. They'll look at me, they'll turn around and walk off. Even police officers do this too, right? Uh, so this is something that they do. This is all part of the psyops, their behavior. Okay. So now as I get closer, you see he moves towards the car a little bit more. And now you see the person is going to roll down their window. Okay? See that? The window come down. Then he puts his phone away in his pocket. Okay, so you see the repeated pattern, right? So whether the person is in a car standing on the street, the action of either taking their phone out of their pocket, looking at it, putting it back in, or having their phone in their hand, looking at it, and as I approach, they'll put it back in their pocket, right? And again, the red theme followed, person wearing the red hat. So again, explaining this stuff is key so people understand what's going on. Now, my son is wearing a red jacket, okay? So, that doesn't bother me because, again, he's not targeting me in the way these people are. You know what I'm saying? It's just the color of the jacket that I bought him. All right, so there is a big difference as opposed to recognizing when somebody's wearing certain colors, even those same colors that are used to target you, um, knowing that when a person is wearing it just because they're just wearing it, or when a person just wearing it to convey an emotion, a feeling, um, when it's being used to trigger you in some way. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next video. All right. So this is Sunday afternoon, and we're heading. I'm taking the kids back to their mom's house because it was my weekend to have them. And so again, leaving my apartment building, and they will always place these vehicles on the side, especially if I'm parked, leaving the house. They will be close to where I can see them. And again, this is another vehicle with the number 32 in the license plate, right? So the incidents where I start to see the number 32 in the license plates is going to start again, and they're going to be frequent. Okay, but I don't want to spend too much time, because I don't want this video to be too long. So I'm going to skip past to where I'm driving to Pam house, and this next video is Monday morning where I'm taking the kids to school. Okay, because you guys seen so much videos of vehicles with the number 32, the frequency in which they're around me, whether it be parked or they're driving in front of me or towards me. So I'm not going to get into all of that right now. So here I am pulling out of the parking space Monday morning. Okay. Okay, let me mute this because the radio is playing. I don't want to get a copyright strike. And so what? The first vehicle, again, I pull up behind. All right. What's the number in the license plate? Okay. What is the number in the license plate? See the number 32? Let's let the camera focus. And, and again, I had to lighten up the video. There you go. Okay. So now, all right, getting, okay, let's go. Let's go here. All right. Okay. Remember, this is all orchestrated. It's all planned out. Approach the light. The you call it the crossing guard walks over, turns, look at me, and she does this. See that? Okay, so let's go. Dropping the kids off. Okay, and we talk about time and the control of a person, time and space. This is what we're talking about here, right? The synchronization and all that stuff. So drop the kids off. As you can see, I'm gonna get back in the car. Okay. I don't want to skip past it because I don't want to miss this. And this is well timed. Okay, we're talking about these people moving in a precise type of manner, precise type of way, starting to drive off. Guess who comes and drive in front of me in my PD vehicle? Okay, all right, let's move on. This is, let's go, let's go. All right, let's get to the next video. Now, after dropping the kids off, I'm on my way to pick up Pam to take her to work. And what do you think is going to happen? Hmm? What do you think is going to happen? If I had $1 million, I would bet you $1 million if you can tell me what was going to happen. And you'll probably get it right, because if you've been watching my video, you would know exactly what was happening. Okay? All right, so here I am. Pulled up, waiting for Pam. And as I pulled up, you'll see the police vehicle lights turned on. Okay, wait, let's go back a little bit. Okay, so right there, you see the police vehicle lights turned on. It makes a U-turn. Okay, makes a U-turn. Now it's going to be heading in my direction. Okay, now why is he has his light on? His sirens isn't on. Not like he's, there's an emergency happening. Okay, again, this is intimidation. Okay, and then you see this lady here. She has a white tissue in her hand. She started touching her nose with it. Okay, she's not blowing her nose. She starts touching her nose with it. She looks up in the air. Then she starts looking at the gate that's closed down. The guy walks behind her, bows his head. Okay, this is the stuff that these people do. Okay, and I have a few more videos, but I don't want to make this video too long. And I think I've explained enough of what's happening, what has happened to me. I'll continue to expose it, and continue to expose the criminal coercive persuasion program, along with expose the remote neuromonitoring, the illegal microchipping, okay, the non-consensual human experimentation, uh, with these directed energy weapons, and just hopefully someone will look at my videos and really see what's going on. I've tried to explain it the best way I can, and just as you'll hear some. If you look up the U.S. diplomats who was involved in these so-called direct energy attacks, some of them talked about being gang stalked, being followed. You know what I'm saying? The same type of things that I've been explaining, they've also talked about. Okay. And so to let people know, like I said, this is their own government, our own government that's doing this, okay? And they're trying to deny it and trying to say that these people, it's all psychological, because again, they don't want to admit that these technologies exist. Because if they do admit that these technologies exist, the thousands of targeted individuals are in this country, around this country, will have a case against the United States government for non-consensual human experimentation, okay? So, that's why they're going to keep denying it. They're going to keep denying it. All right. They're never going to admit to it, just like they never admit to, we had no idea that quote was taking place until, the Watergate scandal, right? We had no idea, uh, a lot of things were, well, not the Watergate scandal, but the, um, the activists that broke into the FBI office, right? We had no idea that MK Ultra took place. The government was experimenting on people until someone discovered the documents that were supposed to be destroyed to hide evidence, to hide any evidence of what the United States government was doing. Right? We had no idea about the government involvement in bringing drugs into the black community, right? For the purpose of funding their illegal war in Central America. We had no idea, right? Until it was uncovered, right? I mean, the Iran Contra scandal broke in the 80s, but the connection between the CIA bringing drugs into the black community, right, as a funding source for that war, illegal war, right, was exposed by an investigative journalist named Gary Webb. And what did they do? They assassinated him. They killed him. Okay. So if I die, you know who did it. I'm telling you, it's the U.S. government. Okay. And it's really really disheartening. It's really sickening. And I hope that every TI in America have their day and when they can look these individuals in the face, okay, if and when they're ever held accountable for what they've done. Okay, that's it for another video. I'll see you guys in the next one.